Welcome to another episode of Social Anxiety Marathon. You are listening to Audio Tales About Life, where I share with you ideas and new perspectives that can help you better understand yourself, and we get down to the nitty-gritty of things, and I pick apart concepts for you so you can finally reach an aha moment in your life. If you haven't subscribed already, please do, because I explore many more topics such as relationships, breaking habits, authenticity, and finding your purpose. And you don't want to miss that. So let's get started and dive into Social Anxiety Marathon Part 2. In the episode before, we talked about what happens in the moment when you are triggered and experiencing social anxiety. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about why you are the one experiencing social anxiety and not someone else. I mentioned something in the previous episode called people pleasing, and this is the topic for today. People who experience social anxiety as adults were trained for this their entire life. You were trained from a young age for the sole purpose of serving others and accommodating other people's needs in ways that are not good for you. As a result, now you're a hypersensitive and hypersensing person, always on high alert of your surroundings and of other people's every move and motive. And by now, you're a super shy person, even if you were a very lively child, and by now you're convinced that the world is out there to get you. You were not allowed to be yourself. People didn't really care about your needs, and your name was silence. The message that you got from that is that what you want doesn't matter, nobody cares about it, and if you dare bring it up again, you will regret it. We can see that there are many dysfunctions in such experiences: threatening, intimidation, lack of recognition, lack of empathy and understanding, lack of acceptance of your being, maybe even physical punishment, and the list could go on endlessly. But for today's conversation, we will focus on people pleasing itself. People with social anxiety are coming from social environments and families where respect is confused with control. And there is also an extreme lack of personal boundaries and recognition of one's own personal authority. That means that you were not looked at as your own person, with your own thoughts, wants, and needs, but more as something that can be used to fulfill someone else's wants, needs, and agendas. As a child, you had three choices when faced with such a cruel reality. You either stand up for yourself and fight for yourself because no one else will, or stay silent and avoid confrontation and punishment, or run away and never look back. And depending on those very choices in the past, now you have a unique set of coping mechanisms in place, even as of today. If you chose to fight and stand up for yourself, it's very likely that now you have anger issues, a very ready to argue attitude, and the famous fight response. If you chose to stay silent and compliant, then you exhibit the fawn response. You are likely a codependent person, highly anxious, people-pleasing, and you are very afraid of speaking up for yourself, let alone dare to be yourself in any social setting. And if you have chose to run from your vicious reality as a child, then you are very likely an avoidant and anxious person today who procrastinates and withdraws from any situations that feel uncomfortable. But there is another response. It's no response at all. It's when you go numb and dissociate from yourself and your reality because it is too painful to process. If you have chose that as a child, then now as an adult, you feel stuck in life, shut down, and you feel hopeless. And this is the notorious freeze response. Every single one of us belong to more than one category. Usually it's two or even three. And it is possible because we chose to deal with one situation in one way and with another situation maybe another way. But since we are talking about social anxiety, lack of boundaries, and people pleasing, all of you who are listening are strong codependents and in the dominant category of fun response, which only means that you are using the fun response more in your life than the others. And with that, I will say that I highly recommend you dive into this topic and actually take an online test yourself. I found a test that has displayed the most accurate results for me, and I will link it below. It's free of charge and only takes a couple of minutes to take and to get your test results. Also, I have another test for you that will reveal your attachment style when it comes to relations. It is displayed in percentages, and I highly recommend taking them both because understanding yourself and your current state of being is key to any positive change to happen in your life. So, moving on, essentially, what people with social anxiety are afraid of is not being accepted, being judged, and also very afraid of highly bad consequences for what they have done. So the ultimate fear here, in this case, is annihilation, an elimination of your entire being, of being prosecuted by the members of the public for simply trying to be you once. But we need to understand the fundamentals of our species. We cannot evolve out of needing connection and acceptance. We cannot heal ourselves out of needing connection and acceptance. There is no therapy or treatment that can possibly make you not need those things. As adults, the situation is a bit different because as children, we didn't have a choice but to suffer through all that happened to us. But now we are in the position to influence what happens. The problem is that we are not equipped with the skills that it takes to actually go and act in physical reality and make a change in our lives. For now, I want you to take those tests, get familiar with the results, and research your results. It is very important to understand what we are working with and where we stand. Next week, we will uncover how to tame the beast and get rid of social anxiety long term. So this is it for this episode. Please like, share and subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell to never miss an episode, because part 3 of Social Anxiety Marathon is where we drive it home and you don't want to miss that. So see you guys then.